So this is the, and then the last step is we're going to go back to Cubigo. And then from here, this one, the first one, go to digital signage. And under, I'm going to mute myself. Oh, sorry. And under digital signage, under settings, we have four YouTube channels. One is admin office, one is assisted living dining room, and then
Break room.
one is in-house TV and in-house TV too. So these four YouTube live channels we have. So we're gonna broadcast it to just in-house TV 1 and TV 2.
Okay.
So when you start the broadcasting, all the residents would be able to access this event from their home from channel 998. All they have to do is just press 998 on their TV and they will be able to, yeah.
Okay.
So either they can attend the Zoom meeting or they can just watch the event from their TV. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And then I'm gonna do this one, pin it. And then and then Bradley is going to check for the mic. And then we have a TV in your office, right? That one. So after everything is set up, we just go turn the TV on and see if all the sound, video, everything is good or not.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Not hard, but a lot of steps.
Yeah, and I have a document for that.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. With a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Same as system microphone web presenter. So I just know two drivers, Bilal. Oh, Victor. Yeah. No, he's actually for Europe. I would
Hi, everyone. We've got 15 seconds left, so please continue your conversations. Well, I'm glad to see at least some of you read the memo or read the memo about wearing a light blue shirt to the community chat today. No, I'm just kidding. There wasn't a memo, but I'm looking around and a lot of us chose light blue to wear today. So that is something we're considering, having a specific dress code for each meeting. We haven't flushed out the details yet, but they'll be coming soon. How's everybody doing today? Good. It's a beautiful day. A few weeks ago or months ago, I guess maybe now, I decided to stop checking the weather forecast because it just I was just setting myself up for disappointment. But does anyone know, is this supposed to stick around for a while this time, or is it supposed to get cold and? Okay. All right. Well, that's not too bad. Hopefully we're done with the rain for a little while. It's amazing how quickly we go from complaining about a drought to too much rain, or from it's too hot to it's too cold and then it's too hot. But anyways, it's perfect today. I'm happy about it. How was the farmers market this morning? Who participated? Who went? Okay. Any feedback? We got, it's a good, and we have a very high thumbs up in the back. Thank you, Paul. Any feedback on selections? Did we have good stuff? Should we have different stuff? Is there anything we really, really liked? Anything we wished was there that maybe wasn't there?
I love the olive bread.
Let me.
More olive bread.
More what?
Olive bread.
Olive bread.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That is really good stuff.
Okay, that's well.
You gotta try it out.
Yeah, I didn't olive bread. All right. Canilla,
Okay.
what's that?
So
Sure.
I'm a partial, I like my veggies and berries to be organic and not sprayed with lots of insecticides and so
Ooh, yeah.
on. But they didn't know which was organic or if it's common. And Paul felt that probably was not organic much. So I would be willing to pay a little more to know that it is organic. Thank you.
Good feedback. And Paul actually mentioned something to me about that this morning, that he's going to be looking into, what we can make available that's organic and not too cost prohibitive, and make sure it's clear we have clear signage of what's organic and what might not be.
Prices would be nice. Prices on the items, so we know what we're spending.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit of a mystery. You'll find out on your monthly statement. No, I'm just kidding. It's one of those things where it's like, well, duh. Yeah, we should have that. So thank you for mentioning that. And I'll bring it back to the team. Anything else? Any other feedback on the?
The avocados were perfectly ripe.
Excuse me, madam.
I have a good voice.
But the avocados were just ripe and perfect for eating now, which was
Oh, good.
really nice. Rather than guessing, when it's
Yeah.
going to be ready. So it was perfect. And the
Okay.
berries were great. The selection was really very
Okay.
nice with the rolls and everything.
Good. And make sure you eat the avocado within like the next 30 minutes, right? Those things turn quickly. All right. Anything else on farmers market before we move on? thank you for the feedback. We are going to continue to sort of see how we can build on the farmer's market. This was the first one of the year, and looking at, yeah, what we can do to make sure we have the best selection available, make sure we can, try to make an event out of it. Question is, how often do they happen? I think the plan for now, but it is very much up in the air. The plan is at least monthly, but we'll probably ultimately land on doing them twice a month. Officially, it is once a month right now, but if there's a lot of feedback that it should be twice a month, I think that's probably the direction we're gonna go in. Any thoughts? Is once a month okay, or should it be twice a month? Twice a month? Okay. Is there anyone that feels strongly that it should only be once a month? This is a silly question. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it isn't, but it certainly could be, at least in maybe a different different way. I know in years past we have had something similar on an ongoing basis throughout the year. So we'll look at kind of how it goes throughout the summer months, and then see at what point it would make sense to possibly transition indoors, maybe change the format a little bit through the fall and winter months. But I think it is something we'll probably continue throughout the year. So, all right.
Steps in.
Ooh,
Here we go. Come on.
yeah.
I was trying to remember, I think we used to have them on barbecue days. And that's why they stopped in the winter, because we didn't eat outside anymore. So we used to love to do that.
Yeah.
The farmer's
so,
market was the same time.
You're right. We did used to do that. We used to have a barbecue day. And one of the things that Paul is looking into is maybe not doing a full barbecue, but having some kind of food stations or something during the farmers markets. I know, like me and my family, we like to go to the farmers market down in Scotts Valley, and we get our fruits and we get our vegetables, and then Ezra likes to run around and drive us all crazy while we're there, in a very cute and loving sort of way. But then there's usually like some kind of a food truck, and we get like pupusas or tacos or something. And so we're looking at sort of, is there a way that we can create a similar type of a experience? So it will probably be evolving over the course of the next few months or weeks. All right. I want to see if I see Balai is here. Do we know if Vincent was going to join us as well? Maybe we'll hold off till Vincent gets here to pass the mic over to Balai. So we'll come back to that. While we're before we move on, I guess now would be a perfect time to introduce one of our newest, maybe our newest team member, and somebody who has quickly become a good friend of mine, and hopefully some of yours as well. Adrian Marshall. Adrian, you want to come up to the front for a minute? The long anticipated start for Adrian Marshall has finally arrived about a week and a half ago. Adrian has joined our team as the Director of Community Engagement. In that role, Adrian will be overseeing, supporting, carrying out, planning all of the activities, events, outings, and other life enriching and fulfilling programs for our independent living and assisted living residents. So working with Jocelyn in assisted living and working with our soon to start within the next couple of weeks, additional activities coordinator. So that is Adrian's role. And Adrian, welcome.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian. I have been in the performing arts for many, many years, as young as I am. I am originally from Jamaica. Let me just start here. So I'm originally from Jamaica. My background is in early childhood education with a minor in special education. I moved here with my wife. We've been together for 15 years. I have a 5-year-old daughter who sometimes I feel like is 25 or yeah. Very, 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 very bubbly and just outgoing. She really wants to come here to meet you all. She's like, at my last job, she's like, I am going to miss all my grandmas. And then she's like, but Mommy, I have new grandmas now. And Daddy says it's 179. So she's super excited to come here and meet you guys. I've been in this industry for over 8 years now. I've been working as an activities director, and I got a promotion to work with the regional team, where they'll go around and build new communities, independent living communities, and mostly assistant living communities. And I work as their marketing event coordinator, and I did that for a couple of years during the pandemic. So I'm very flexible and versatile in planning a big activity in a pandemic situation and also without a pandemic situation. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I got the invitation from Bill. He's like, you're gonna love it. Come join me. And I put myself out there. So I'm here learning. It's my second week. I'm gathering a lot of information, a lot of information, because I want to serve you guys well. So I want to prepare myself as, to be able and capable of doing it. It's a little bit overwhelming with the amount of information, but I feel like I just need to just adjust myself, and going forward, I know I can, do a great job. Yeah. I'm sorry? Not as yet. I haven't moved upstairs as yet in that office.
So Adrian is currently in the office next to Sandy's office where Omar is. But we're over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to be making some changes to office assignments. Ultimately, Adrian will be upstairs on this side of the Galleria. So that'll probably take place sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Well, welcome, Adrian. We're super excited that you're here.
Thank you.
Adrian mentioned Bill Penrod, our health services administrator, who's been with us for over a year now. So Bill and Adrian used to work together, and also some of you know Maribel in the lodge. Maribel and also used to work with Adrian. And when we were looking for the right fit for this position, Bill and Maribel were courting Adrian, and because they'd worked with him and they knew that he would do such a great job. And Adrian didn't tell this to me or anyone that I know of until after he started, but he said, I got to be honest, and I'm going to paraphrase, I applied and came in to interview just to get Bill and Maribel off my back. But fortunately, he discovered what a wonderful community this is. And so thank you for being nice to him when he came in for his interview. which eventually led to him deciding to join the team. So welcome, Adrian. We're super, super excited you're here. He is somebody that obviously all of you will get to know very closely over the course of the next few months and many, many years. So again, welcome aboard. I see Vincent and Balai are back with us. So I'm going to actually ask Vincent and Balai to come on up and give us an update on a very special and important project that they're collaborating on.
All right. So as you all may know from the last State of the Business, we started a collection of supplies for Ethiopia. The supplies were to help Balai and his family and friends overseas. And thank you to all of you who have made donations. We have started a list of equipment and supplies that have already been collected. Sandra's been really good about taking inventory of everything so we can keep track of all that we've collected. We've already sent a truckload of supplies. Beds, mattresses. We had a giant 55-gallon trash can already full of supplies that have been gathered. So much of that's been taken over. I'll let Balai explain how he's working with his church and how we continue to collect and gather resources.
Yeah, we have already moved some of the mattresses and the walker and the cane to the church warehouse at the container. So the remaining medicines and other supplies we are planning to keep at the storage, the home storage, just to keep the temperature. So I'm really, I'm so happy when I see the residents, coming with the supplies, and then it makes me something. I know I feel the problem, and then people who's suffering there, it's really, they need those supplies. So I really appreciate on behalf of those who are suffering there, the mothers, the kids, because they have a lack of medication and health facilities. So thank you so much. We are doing great. And then I really appreciate the Vincent and his team. They are always ready and to help us. And then I really thank you to the management as well.
Yeah, so everything can be delivered to the maintenance department, and we're collecting everything there. So as long as our doors are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you're welcome to bring supplies and drop them off to us. I'll start on this side of the room and I'll work my way over. That's perfectly fine. We're taking pretty much anything, and
Thank you.
yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so anything, old walkers, canes, wheelchairs. I mean, even if they're missing a tennis ball or a wheel, we'll take it. I have spare parts for some things. We can piece things together. I think just anything will help over there, and we'll take it. So yeah, the list is online. Yeah, and it's just basic medical supplies.
So we have a queen size bed and it's not being used. And I've been wanting to give it away here. I've had it posted. Do you take a used bed?
For this purpose, we will not. We're only taking medical grade mattresses and
Okay.
medical beds. So but thank you though. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please, let me know.
Is there another question on this side? It was answered. Okay. So yeah, thank you again, everyone. We're going to keep collecting supplies until the end of the month. So feel free to stop by, and we thank all of you for everything. Oh, yes, Gloria.
Is there a list someplace that
Yes.
supplies are needed?
On TLG Connect, there's a list. It's going to be found there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Balai. And thank you, everyone, for supporting those efforts. It's great to see the community coming together for a very, very good and very, very important cause. All right, let's talk. Ooh, where do we go? Executive chef. So as everyone knows, probably knows, we are on the hunt for our next executive chef. We have a little bit of an update, nothing solidified yet, but there have been several interviews conducted by the Morrison team. The way that the process works is the Morrison team does sort of the pre-screening and the initial interviews. And then when they feel that they have a candidate who could potentially be the right fit, they'll present them to me. And then myself and our HR director and maybe a few other people meet with the candidates. And if we give the thumbs up, then they move on to the next phase, which is a culinary and a chef's test. There's actually a written and a practical chef's test that we do to make sure that they don't only interview well and have a great resume, but they can actually cook. And so there's one candidate that is currently moving on to that phase of the process, the chef's test, which will take place next week. We'll see how that goes. So there's definitely movement on finding the right person for that important role. And once we have something solidified, obviously, we'll let everybody know right away. Fortunately, Paul and his team have been doing a great job. The Morrison team has been very responsive as well. They've been very quick to find some great interim support as we transition to finding our new executive chef. I have a question. By show of hands, let's see, how do I want to ask this question? Well, let me ask you this first. Who orders food online? Who orders food online? First of all, who orders meals from dining services online? Every once in a while. Who has? Okay. Keep your hands up. Come on. Keep your hands up if you have loved the user experience to order your food online from dining services. Love. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask this. All right. This is kind of silly. We have heard feedback, and it is our own assessment too, that the online ordering system is not fantastic. There may be some who absolutely love it, which is, if that is the case, great. There are some limitations to the system. There are also some limitations to the menus that are posted online to view. It's kind of a clunky system and not. It's hard to get all of the information accurate, updated all the time. So we are. I just want to put it out there that we are exploring alternate options to make that experience a little bit better and more user friendly. So we're sort of probably a long way, several months away to deciding if we are going to make a change and what that change would look like. But I just wanted to put it out there because we have gotten a lot of feedback that the user experience is far from ideal. That we are exploring some potential changes, and hopefully we'll see some progress on that front over the course of the next few months. Mr. Barish.
as a user of the system, one of the key elements is finding your order when you go to pick it up. The printer that is used to put the orders on the bags has a very high consumption rate of ink, which means after about the second day of changing the printer ribbon, it's an eye test to find your meal. And if we get a new system, could we please get one that has a better printer?
Thank you. That is one of the areas of feedback we've heard a lot. Yes, Ms. Papanastos.
One of my issues is the weekly menu does not come out on Kubigo before on Saturday for the following week. So that Sunday morning, when you look on Kubigo, it's the old menus. And the second thing is the nutritional side. I'm not seeing that listed, and sometimes that really affects what I want to order. So I really find that very important. But I don't have too much of a problem ordering online. I think I wish things were a little more descriptive, like fruit jerk. What the heck is fruit jerk?
What did you call me?
It was a fruit jerk. Wasn't that yesterday? It was beef. And I don't remember that beef was in there. Okay, well, anyway, okay. Oh, like jerky? Okay, well, see, that isn't what I understood. I ordered it and I really didn't care for it anyway.
Oh.
Pictures with the meals.
Thank you. No, and that's good feedback too. I know, yes, noted. It would be good to have the ability to have more description for what the items are.
Well, it is changing, and for the less, the way the menus are set up now online has changed, and there's less information available. For example, the dining room menu used to be posted online. It's no longer there that I've seen for the last many days. The menu that gets handed out in the dining room daily, twice a day, I have not found it online. Well, there's a description, but it isn't inclusive.
Yeah.
It doesn't include everything that's provided in the dining room. The other thing is that it no longer tells you what the desserts are. It just says assorted desserts, which is not real helpful. Yeah, and the postings are late. They're not current often.
Thank you for mentioning that. Really, without, I don't know, getting into too many boring details, the main challenge of the system that we're using is that there's a lot of information that needs to go to a lot of different places, and all of the information, the vast majority of the information just needs to be manually updated on an ongoing basis. And so we're looking at consolidating all of the various systems that we're using into one system that will be able to feed into all of the different areas where the information needs to be. So that you can look and see, not only you can see, where you go to look at what the menu is the same place where you would go to place your order, for example. So anyways, we're working on it. We hear you. And we'll hopefully find a good solution sometime in the not too distant future.
Bradley, Paul did explain that the reason that the daily menus is gone had nothing to do with us. It was something that the system created and did away with. And it may be because they're trying to do all of human good dining things the same. I'm not sure.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, within the abilities of the existing system, streamline the process so that we can ensure there's consistent information provided on a regular basis. And so we're looking at, okay, we're manually updating all of these different things. Is there a way where we can manually update just a few of those things and still make the same information available? That would help us to be able to stay more consistent with it. But I mean, there's a lot of different related challenges. Judy?
Well, but if you're asking the ordering system to solve the problems for the whole dining complex and all of their needs, perhaps it's too much to be on that one plate, to have that system serve everybody's needs, the kitchen's needs, the dining room's needs, the residents' needs. I mean, it's a big system, so.
Yeah, no,
Break it up, is what I'm thinking.
okay, thank you. All right.
I'm looking on my phone right now.
Uh-huh.
It shows lunch
Uh-huh.
and dinner. If you click on the dinner, it shows you the menu,
Okay,
Greek salad, house salad side, main courses, sides. All of them are listed. It doesn't show what desserts are available.
okay,
And it's not showing lunch now because it's over.
okay.
It's online.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. I think there's certainly some consistency issues, I think. Okay. Moving on. All right, let's see. Thank you for completing your resident experience surveys. I know everybody is probably tired of hearing us talk about the resident experience surveys. Good news, it will be done on Monday. So for those of you who have completed your surveys, thank you very, very much. As of a little earlier this morning, we were at 75% participation for the entire community, which is fantastic. Which is, we've surpassed last year's participation numbers, as well as the previous year's participation numbers. And we still have a few days left, so I'm sure there'll still be some more that will be completed between now and Monday, which is when the survey window closes. But I just wanted to sincerely thank you for taking the time to complete those surveys. Thank you to the resident volunteers who have parked themselves outside of the main dining room and the lodge dining room and did the majority of the nagging. So we didn't have to as much. So thank you for to those residents who have helped with that. Just to share a little bit about kind of what happens with the surveys. Once we receive all of the results, there's a few sort of steps that we'll take from that point on. We'll compile all of the results and try to make sense of everything. Really, the most important things. There's two primary goals of this survey. Depending on who you ask, there may be differing opinions. But from my perspective, there's two primary goals. One primary goal, which I guess is important, but not the most important. It's to give us as an organization the opportunity to kind of see how well we're doing throughout the organization at a very high level, right? So we can see, okay, which communities are the residents really happy at? Which communities are maybe the residents not as happy at? And really to evaluate, you know, how well we're doing serving the residents within the individual communities. That's kind of at a high level. Also at sort of a high level, it gives Human Good kind of a snapshot of, you know, what are the areas as an organization where we're doing well, and what are the areas as an organization where we need to dedicate more resources, more time and attention. At the local level, here at the community, what is most important to us is really the direct feedback. So the comments that are written, and also the scores, because it helps us, you know, in the same way, look at where we're doing well and where we need to give a little more attention. But all of the comments that you provide, we read through those. We will read through those meticulously, and then we'll try to group all of the feedback together in some kind of a cohesive way, so that we can take that information and we say, okay, this is something where we need to dedicate more time and energy and attention. And then we can create action plans so that we can address the areas that need more attention. We will provide probably in the community chat that we're in now, but depending on when we get all of the results back, it would either be next month's community chat. More likely, it will probably be the community chat in July. We'll have a presentation where we'll share kind of a summary of the results. And then in the quarterly executive director's report that would come out late July for the second, or mid to late July for second quarter, will outline outline those results, and then outline kind of the action planning process that we'll be following throughout the course of the next 12 months. So you will get a summary of the results, and then we will certainly be giving information on sharing information about what we're doing with the information that we receive. Does anyone remember what topic we spent a lot of time talking about last month? Ice cream. I don't want to bring it up again, but I do want to say, as a small way to say thank you for completing the surveys and for your feedback on ice cream. Tomorrow between 12 o'clock, roughly between 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock, so after lunch, please join us out in the fountain court for some ice cream. The Mr. Softy ice cream truck will be here. Anyway, so it should be fun. Residents, team members, anyone who's around, please help yourself to some refreshing ice cream tomorrow afternoon. Yes, you certainly can, I think. Okay.
The foundation is going to sponsor another ice cream social in August, as we've done the last couple of years. It's a lot of fun. The committee gets to serve, and we have really good time. So something in ice cream to look forward to.
Love it. Thank you. Couple of other things that have come up, I think, perhaps in this meeting or other meetings. There's been a lot. We have been working on a plan to get back on track. One of the things that, to be frank, over the last few years, a lot of our normal routines and a lot of our normal systems and processes have been completely disrupted. And we're trying to rebuild some of the things that were destroyed over the last few years. And one of those is having consistent wellness assessments, health assessments for all of our residents on an annual basis. Charmaine, our Director of Wellness and Assisted Living, has been working with her team to devise a plan where we can get back on track with a regular schedule for all residents to have an annual health and wellness assessment done. We will, there's a few things that need to take place before we can really start moving on that plan. But we're hopeful that by mid to late June, we'll be able to start that process. In short, what will happen is a schedule will be created, most likely by building in residential living. And so that every day or every week, I'll say, we have certain residents that are just scheduled to have their wellness assessments done. So the wellness team will be reaching out to everybody to let everybody know when their scheduled times will be and collaborate with you to make sure that it's a time and a day that works well. And then we'll just start conducting those wellness assessments for everybody. It will obviously take quite a bit of time to get everybody back on track and on a consistent schedule. But we're going to be starting that process, like I said, hopefully by the end of June. If there are any special needs, if there are changes of condition where you or your partner may need a wellness assessment before the scheduled time, please don't hesitate to reach out to the wellness department. They will continue to conduct sort of as needed wellness assessments for those that may need them sooner than what will ultimately be the regular scheduled time. So that is in the works, and we'll be getting started soon.
Of the wellness assessment.
Good question. The question is, what is the purpose of the wellness assessment? And there's a lot of purposes, but really there's two primary purposes for the wellness assessments. One, it's an opportunity for residents and our wellness nurses to get to know each other. Number one, we want to ensure that residents are comfortable with the wellness nurses, that they know the wellness nurses, so that when there is a need, there's already a relationship that's established there, so that residents can feel comfortable reaching out to the wellness department when any sort of support or assistance may be needed. So that's one. Two, it's so that we can make sure that we are working closely with all of our residents to ensure that you have the support that you may need. Oftentimes what happens, we have found, is that, and this is unfortunately indicative of sort of our entire healthcare system as a whole, we're very reactive. When there's a problem, we respond to it. But what we want to try to do is have a better understanding of what all the residents' individual needs are, so that when those needs are small and not at a crisis mode, we can provide whatever support may be needed. And so whether it's, maybe a resident you could benefit from, more frequent wellness checks, or, maybe there's medication management assistance that may be needed. Maybe residents have a new medical condition that we should be aware of and we can chat with to make sure that we provide resources for you. So it's to help us be, as a community, more proactive as opposed to reactive to the healthcare needs that residents may experience. Paul.
Bradley, the question of an assessment for support needs, how about an assessment that says, gosh, you could benefit from this exercise program? That's a great opportunity to be active through the assessment process and not just say, boy, we could see that coming if they had just. And the best place here at the Terraces I've found to get that kind of help is outpatient rehab, because they've got a whole bag of tricks up there, not for you when you're recovering from surgery, but to keep the aging process at bay so you don't fall.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing an assessment, I know it's required by the state, but how about adding, here's something we found that can counter what we're seeing and what's going on with you.
Yeah, that's a really important comment, and thank you for making it. And I think that is, you know, I think that's a really important component to make sure that when there are changes, we can, even if they're maybe very subtle changes, we can provide some recommendations, whether it be outpatient therapy or any other services, to avoid falling into that those crises situations. All right. Couple of other quick items on my list I wanted to make sure to mention. This afternoon, oh, I should have mentioned it when Belai was here. This afternoon is Getting to Know You, I think. Is it? I think is yes. Okay, 3:30 here. So Belai will be back with Kate Brophy, as well as Jinky Barella, who's our director of nursing in the health center. So if you'd like to get to know both of them a little bit better, come back at 3:30. We have, I have one more question. I really should have thought through how I ask these questions before I start asking them. Raise your hand if you, as a resident of the Terraces of Los Gatos, prefer for team members to call you by your first name as opposed to Mr. or Ms. so-and-so. So if you prefer to be on a first name basis, raise your hand. If they remember, okay. If you would prefer that to be on a Mr. or Mrs. basis, raise your hand. Yes, you certainly can raise your hand twice. Raise your hand if you really don't care either way. Okay, well, that's good because we've been doing a lot of talking and thinking about this. Historically, it was actually like written into our protocols that we address residents as Mr. and or Mrs. or Ms. So-and-so. It's no longer officially written into our protocol. Anyways, this was helpful just to kind of gauge what residents would prefer. So I think we're making the shift towards officially being on more of a first name basis, but we're certainly open to any feedback or suggestions. So if you have strong feelings one way or the other here, those of you who are in this room or those of you that are joining at home, feel free to reach out to me and let me know.
It might have to do with the comfort level of the team members too. Some of them may not be comfortable calling a fire person.
That's a great comment. And for those that may not have heard, it may, there may be a factor of what the team members are most comfortable with. Some team members may feel comfortable using first names, and other team members may feel more comfortable using a more formal way to address. Now I'm going to be nervous every time I call on somebody. Ms. Jean Lusk.
I would like to compliment the staff of the way they learn everybody's names. I have no idea how they remember everything, and I think it's absolutely amazing, and I would like to congratulate them for that.
I agree. Thank you for that comment. And what your name tag say? Oh, Jean. Okay. Thank you, Jean. No, thank you. I'm impressed too. I find myself cheating more than I probably dare to admit, but it's very impressive. Okay. That's all I got. So what else do we want to talk about? Remodeling the Galleria, where does that stand? Good question. So we actually have a meeting scheduled tomorrow afternoon with our committee of residents, team members, and advisory board members to review where we're at in the process. And where we're at in the process is we have drawings complete. I don't know what the official term is. The three-dimensional drawings that don't have anything inside of it, whatever those drawings are called, those are done. And we'll be reviewing them with the committee tomorrow. We've received a couple of design and color schemes that we'll be looking at tomorrow. We'll be looking at a few specific details about layout in the meeting tomorrow. As we are going through that process, our primary goal tomorrow in the meeting tomorrow will be to determine what's the best approach to take to make sure that we are getting as much feedback from residents as possible without delaying the process extensively. Our goal is to have the design drawings complete by mid-May and having the mid-June design drawings complete by mid-June and construction drawings complete and ready for submittal. Our goal as of about a month ago was to have the construction drawings complete by the end of June. Based on our meeting earlier this week, it will probably be the second week of July when we have construction drawings ready to submit to the town. Let Vincent decide who gets to go first.
Is the bistro still in?
Is the bistro still in? There is, I guess it depends on how you define bistro. We are looking at having a location that has beverages, light food available throughout the day. And that's a super unsatisfying answer, I know. But there are plans for something along those lines. I'm gonna dodge that one a little bit. I know it's kind of a hot topic. Barbara.
What are the chances of getting new chairs for the game room?
What are the chances of getting new chairs for the game room?
The ones there now are too low. Everybody's sitting on pillows. They're too deep for people who have back problems and they don't have wheels to move easily. And the pillows disappear. Shell reminded me.
I see Susan is itching. Did you have a comment related to that question?
Yeah, maybe not.
Okay, let's hear it and then we'll.
I heard that you're replacing the chairs in the conference room.
Oh, okay.
Those chairs have wheels. They have an up and downy thing. They have arms. I don't know if it's a possibility. Just a thought.
That is a interesting thought. Thank you for mentioning that. I don't know if we've considered that, but Vincent, do you have anything to share?
I was looking into possibly getting new tables and chairs for next month. So it's something we can look into, or we are working on the conference room and remodeling it, but a lot of that won't happen until next year. So I won't be able to take the chairs from there right now, but I think there'll be some room in the budget for next month to get some new tables and chairs for the game room.
Yeah, that is something that Vincent came to me a couple of months ago.
Better lighting in the game room as well. Noted.
Yeah, ultimately the entire game room needs to be redone. But in the interim, yes, Vincent is looking into some new
Yeah,
chairs
that's what I
and-
was going to
and
just
tables.
say. The room is old and pretty ugly at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right. So yes, ultimately the whole space will be redone. We don't have plans or timelines for that yet. But yeah, we definitely will work on getting new chairs and likely tables in the interim.
What's being delayed till next year? Vincent just mentioned something.
Working on remodeling of the conference room. So we need a larger, more funds and more timing to find the right furniture for that room. So we've done already paint and carpet, crown molding, and we've done the AV upgrades, but we didn't really budget for furniture. So I need to budget for new furniture for that room, so it's adequate and nice. To be determined, but most likely, I think yeah.
It
It
is
is.
a really nice table. Oh man, this could turn into a good discussion. What we are leaning towards is, let me take a step back. Let me preface this a little bit better. As large of a community as we have, space still seems to be a challenge. There are activities, events, programs, groups, meetings that more often than we would like, we just can't accommodate, or we can't accommodate in the way that we would like to be able to accommodate them. And so what we're looking at for the conference room is making that space still function as a conference room, but also with the ability to be a little more flexible and use it as a more versatile space to accommodate more than just formal conferences and meetings. So we're looking at possibly doing some modular type tables so that we can still have, big conference table, but then also, perhaps we could convert it into space that we could use for like an art class, for example, where we could have individual tables with a small easel for, painting classes, or we can potentially move the tables and use it for a small exercise class, or any number of other things. The reality is that room is super, super big. Well, it's really large and could be utilized for a lot more than we're currently able to with the existing setup. So nothing's been finalized. Vincent is working with a group of residents and team members to figure out what really the best options are. And that's one of the reasons too that we sort of pushed it back, because we want to make sure we do it right. We invest invest what we need to make sure that it's a space that will be most efficient and most effective and sort of meet the greatest amount of needs. Jeannie.
Sequoia room.
Yeah. The Sequoia room falls into a similar category.
It's really in need.
Yes, and we drew up some rough plans for the Sequoia room. To be perfectly honest, one of the issues is we didn't, and this is, I'll take responsibility for this. We didn't budget, we didn't add that to our CapEx budget for this year. And so, we're looking at maybe doing a few things to make it a little more comfortable. But we don't have the capital funds set aside to really do an overhaul of that space. But we probably need to revisit it to do some interim work for the time being. Next, what else? Gloria.
I would just like to say that I don't like the color blue.
Okay,
Everybody got that?
got it. Noted.
I go into that dining room and I don't think I've been there one time and I eat every night. That dining room is so pretty. And I just sit there and I think, and I usually verbalize how beautiful it is.
Oh, good.
And I just would like to say, yay, you guys, because it's a bang up dining room. Really pretty.
Oh, good. Thank you for mentioning that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've heard that Notions and Needs is going to be moved somewhere out, not where it is. What's the plan?
The honest answer is we don't totally know yet. There's, that space is prime real estate and we're trying to figure out what is the best use of that space. That's one of the areas where we're considering doing some kind of a, I don't want to say bistro because it's not really a bistro that we're looking at. But converting that space to use for maybe a slightly different purpose. And then we're looking at potentially some alternate locations for Notions and Needs. That is the honest to goodness truth is we haven't made any definitive decisions yet. Hopefully we will at the meeting tomorrow. But that's one of the hot topics that we haven't really made a definitive decision on. Marion.
Thank you for getting those. Yeah, thank you for getting those large area cans there so that we can throw things away. And the last time it was brought out that we were not happy that there was no place to throw papers or what have you. So it's nice to have them sitting there and know that you are responding to what we want.
Well, thank you. And thank you for that feedback. And thank you, Vincent, for making that happen. Sharon.
Speaking of being able to dispose of things, you definitely need more, the word just went out of my head. Getting rid of important papers. You only have one in a shredder. And you definitely need another shredder. We used to have one in our resident business office, which we no longer have. And when we lost the business office, we also lost a shredder.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. And yeah, we'll look at some solutions there. Yeah, we'll look at that. Thank you. We'll go here and then come back over here.
One solution would be that it's advertised which day the shredding company is coming in, because they evidently just fill up bins and lock them up and don't shred them at site, so that we could come and have a bin for residents. As a matter of fact, the guy last time took some of my bags.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. We have tried very hard to get on a set schedule with our shredding company, because you're right, we have various bins, locked bins throughout the community, and then they come and they collect them and then they dump them in their giant shredder truck. It's always a mystery to us, to be perfectly honest, when they're going to be here, despite all of Christy, who's in the back, despite her efforts and others' efforts to get them to commit to a certain day and time each month, it just doesn't happen. So, I mean, I think the solution is probably just having an additional bin somewhere that can be filled up throughout the month. So we'll look at that.
This has to do with the garden. This has to do with the garden. I was there today and the compost bin is full. I don't know, when do they take the how often, what days do they empty the compost?
Once a week on Friday.
Okay, see, that's, because I know I went last weekend to take stuff out of my plots, my two boxes, and the compost bin was almost full, and that was the weekend. And there's another bin there for recycle, but there's nothing for garbage. So people are throwing garbage into the compost bin, I mean, into the recycle bin. But I wish there was another compost bin.
We can increase our frequency.
Okay, well, that would be good.
I know there's more gardening happening now. So.
Can you put soil in the compost? Because I tried to get as much dirt off of the roots as I could.
It's fine.
It's okay. All right, good.
Yeah, just about every day I walk to where the rose garden is. And for those of you who haven't been there, it is in full glory. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's a must see.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to take a stroll through the Rose Garden a few days ago with Adrian, actually. Yeah, it's great time of year to be out there. How are everyone's tomatoes going to do this year? Does anyone here grow tomatoes? Okay, man, last year our tomatoes were the worst. I don't know why. Was that what it was? Too hot? Hopefully we do a little better this year. Usually we're like overloaded with tomatoes and trying to figure out what to do with them. Not last year. Let's see, anything else you'd like to discuss?
Thank you for everything you do.
Oh, please stop. You're welcome. I appreciate it. And to be perfectly honest, I've been thinking lately, and especially during and after the memorial service that we had last week, I've just been thinking about how appreciative I am. And I know many of our team members as well feel the same way. Just how appreciative we are that we have the opportunity to work here and the opportunity to get to build relationships with all of you. It is really a pleasure and a blessing to my life and I know all of our team members' lives. So thank you for making this a great place to have to come to work every day. It's great. Anything else you'd like to bring up before we? If you can submit an IT request on TLG Connect, and we'll schedule a time to come out and tell you how to turn off the light. All right, thanks everybody. We'll finish a little early. Have a great afternoon. So really quickly before everybody goes, word on the street is that there was a mountain lion spotted somewhere, very clear, very close here.
Supposedly it's jumped the neighbor's fence, but we're not sure its whereabouts at the moment. So just be cautious.
Just be aware. You see mountain lion, don't get too close.
I had different